What's up, everybody? ZWade Photo. I was at work today whenever I got news of the Nikon Z 28-75 f2.8. So I looked into it a little bit, and for the most part, people are asking, why? Like, why would you do that? We have the f4, and we have the f2.8s. Like, why would they come out with another one? Well, I think I have an idea. But before I get into it, I want to invite you to zwadephoto.com. If you want to help support this channel, you can check out the print shop and pick you up a print, or you can make a small donation. The PayPal link below. But if you don't want to spend any money, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Just check out my personal art portfolio at zwadephoto.com, or consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Now, I have to say, whenever I first saw it, I thought to myself, Tamron makes a 28-75 f2.8. It's actually available in the E mount, but this isn't a Tamron, this is a Nikon Z. So what I think is going on, and I don't particularly like it, but I mean, it is what it is. You know how Sony teamed up and like, well, they didn't really team up, but they like licensed the Zeiss name? Maybe it's like the reverse of that. Tamron has definitely been dragging its ass on making the Z mount, and their excuse was they were like supposedly waiting to see if it was gonna like take a significant hold like the Z mount, and they also were like waiting to like reverse engineer the mount. But I mean, if 𝑭𝑚𝑪 can do it, and TT Artisans can do it, and Laowa can do it, like you can do it too. So it has seemed kind of suspicious, and believe me, I actually really love some Tamron glass. Like their G2 line is excellent, right? Their 45mm f1.8, that is one of my favorite lenses, right? Top 5. Love that lens. I've been waiting on Tamron lenses. I don't necessarily need the Tamron Trinity at this point, but there's some primes that I'd really like to have. Even if they just took the F-mount versions and put them in like on a Z mount to where I didn't have to adapt them, I would be so into that. Maybe, just maybe, Nikon worked out some kind of deal with Tamron to make Tamron lenses under the Nikkor Z name. So in that kind of situation, like obviously Nikon wants a cut, right, of Tamron's lens market, right? Because they provide a product that is in some cases as good, or maybe just barely not as good as Nikon or Canon products, and they do it for a lot cheaper. In fact, in all of the Tamron lenses that I've actually owned, they have stood right next to or outperformed. So in this kind of a business setup, you can have the consumer base believing that there's not a lot of third-party lens options. But if Nikon can work out this deal with Tamron, say, look, you know, we both agree that Sigma, they're a bunch of jabronis. So what if you make your lenses and we sell them at kind of the price that you would have sold them at, right? Only we'll put the Nikor Z name on it. You know, we've got some awesome cameras coming out, right? And you know, people are getting hyped about, you know, the future of Nikon. And all you have to do is just make them. We'll sell them for you. Now, Tamron could just as easily come out with like a Tamron lens, right? But, I mean, they're already making stuff under their name for like Sony and Canon, and I don't know a situation where they would want to do that. But I mean, if you think about it, if somebody came up to you and said, hey, look, you know, we'll pay you directly, you just make the stuff, we'll pay you, you know, and then we'll sell it, right? We'll hold the stock. You just order how many we want, and you don't have to gauge the market anymore. You don't have to worry about how good or bad something is going to sell. Because I really don't think that Nikon would have made a 28-75 f2.8 when really what they want is for somebody to buy the 24-70 f2.8 because it's like double the price. It just doesn't seem like a good business move for Nikon to come out with yet another mid-range zoom. And so I could see a situation where Tamron's like, okay, how many do you want? Tamron gets a bunch of money up front, right? They don't have to maintain stock, right? They don't have to market the thing. Nikon didn't even market this thing. It just came out of nowhere. It's not even on the lens roadmap. They just like pulled this one like out of nowhere. Like it just came out of the ether. I don't know. I don't know if any of this is true. I'm just saying, as soon as I saw 28-75, I thought of Tamron's Sony E mount. It's like a G2. Like, of course, it has a bunch of ridiculous letters. It's like the 2875 f2.8 D triple I DC VC QR LMNOP whatever, right? And I was like, that sounds awfully similar to, like, that's like a 2875 is like a Tamron focal length, right? Look at this. Versus, I don't know what the measurements are, but I mean, they kind of look like they might even be the same size. Like, the body is like a little bit different, but they look like they might be the same size. The true tell is whenever the specs come out and you can see like how close the Nikkor Z 28-75 will focus, and like some of the other comparisons, like the size and the weight and all these different things. Like when all these dimensions come out, if they're shockingly similar to the Tamron, then I have pretty good conviction that this is some kind of business move. It just doesn't make sense for Tamron not to jump onto the Z mount like by now. Like, we've been waiting since, 2019. They said in 2019 that they were waiting on some stuff in like June, and that's like the last they ever mentioned of it. So I have pretty good conviction that this is a Tamron made lens, and they worked out some kind of deal for Nikon to just like slap their name on it. Nikon doesn't have to worry about losing, Z mount market share by any more than it does to, TT Artisan and Lens Baby and all the other few that actually make Z mount lenses. They don't have. Tamron would be a big one. Tamron and Sigma would be a big one that they wouldn't have to lose to if they could work out some kind of, yeah, hey man, we'll pay a chunk of cash. I know that's good for Nikon, and I want Nikon to do what's good for Nikon, but I also really like some Tamron lenses. So if things get too different than what I'm kind of used to seeing from Tamron, then I'm really not going to know where Tamron starts and Nikon ends. You see, I have this level of expectation now. Like with the Z mount, I expect the Z lenses to be a certain way. I expect certain qualities. I expect certain qualities out of Tamron that I don't expect out of Nikon. I expect certain things out of Nikon that I don't expect out of Tamron. And so if this is, and I think this is maybe what's going on, I would rather just have a Tamron be a Tamron and not have a Nikkor be a Tamron. If anything, it's definitely confused the Nikon Z market. Let me know in the comments below if you think that maybe some kind of deal might have been worked out. Maybe this Nikkor Z is a Tamron, the exact same, probably almost Tamron, that you might find in the Sony E mount. That's a wrap of this episode of ZWade Photo, and I will catch you in the next one.